Well, hey, it looks like we're back. So, had to work quick and schedule some stuff. So I'm waiting right now for Diamond to jump in. He has the link and he's jumping in. But good to see you guys jumping back into the fray here. Let me just arrange some things before we get started. Good to see everybody. All right. So good Charlie Bear, I believe. Good to see you, I believe. Free Spirit, A Comfort. Scrub. Where have you been, Scrub? Let me bring in Diamond. Looks like we're in. So he had to rejoin as a panelist. And he is on. Hey, Diamond. Good to see you, brother.
Yes, likewise.
And it's good to be seen. So, hey, everybody. So,
well, we're not in handcuffs.
Yeah. So let me ring. So, Diamond, tell me, we haven't, just so everybody knows, we haven't even had a chance to debrief or talk about anything since, right? So everybody understands that, in full transparency, Diamond and Rex had gone out together. And, not to belabor this, but, just be debriefing with you, Diamond, would be awesome because it's certainly, we went through an entire experience after you guys left that was obviously quite remarkable. And we had to react rather quickly. And then you guys came back to something else. So why don't you tell me, first of all, did you guys find anything when you guys went out?
Well, I have a video that I'm about to post, a 38-minute video of everything we found. And the Dine, or the Navajo guides that were part of Dorothy Bigman's family, brought us to a part of Mystery Valley where they were related to everyone. So on the 27-mile trip through that section of Arizona, every house we passed was Aunt Sally or whoever, where I really wanted to go in and meet all these people, but we had other things to go see. So they basically took us on the quickest all-inclusive tour of everything. Petroglyphs, arches, and ruins, and just the beauty of the valley. While these gentlemen are very stoic, the Navajo, and you really have to get the information out of them about what you're looking at, or they have to trust you. And about 15 minutes into the ride, our guide was like, Diamond, you are awesome. You are one of the most genuine people I've ever met. So I knew at that point, I think we were going to have a good tour.
That's awesome.
So the tour went excellent. We saw thousands of petroglyphs. We saw evidence of the ancient ones, which are the Anasazi cliff dwellings, which typically have been broken down and then reworked by the Pueblo. But there was the one ruin we went to called the White House, where there was still some very ancient cliff dwelling next to some more recent cliff dwelling. Got to see the whole gamut. And I was looking for Peratt instability petroglyphs. These are what's called the Squatter Man, which is like, it looks like a stick man guy. Those that are familiar with the electric universe will know what I'm talking about. And sure enough, we found dozens of them. And so the video I'll post later, you'll be able to look at all of those ruins and petroglyphs and even hear a little bit about what the guides have to say. But so while this is going on and we're having this amazing, we are bonding with Earth and the ancient cultures with the new cultures. And we are just in awe the whole time. We have no idea what's going on back at camp. So As the sun is setting and we're leaving the valley, we're headed back to camps about a few miles away. And in the distance, we can see over at the Mustang Ranch and it's all dark. And we're like, oh, everything's taken care of. There's no more lights. So we get to the entrance, and as we drop in, there are pickup trucks filled with guys in flak jackets with laser scopes on their head, all holding machine guns. And they come right head on with our vehicle. Wham! And they don't even waste time. They bump up off of the side of the road and they just get out into the desert and they drive away. And it looked literally like I was in Kuwait. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. But I knew how to react because I've been through a lot, and I become more tactical in those moments. So I immediately sent Rex and the geezer to go get Rex's van, and I took the women and children, and we left immediately in reverse and backed out to a safe spot up at the elementary school. And then we were able to contact Rex, who then forwarded what you had emailed him, and that was just the beginning of the reveal of the insanity that ensued. Mm-hmm. I was amazed by the nature of the extraction, that no one was hurt. And that is simply a testament to the type of people that were gathered for this event.
Yeah, no question. It was, I started to realize that just, everything that I talk about, everything that you talk about, Rex, when we talk about kind of the government agencies and how they operate. Now, again, this isn't necessarily to say that that the individuals that are doing these things necessarily know what they're doing. They think they're doing their job, and they're receiving information from their commanders. They say, "Hey, these people." Their commanders say, "Hey, these people have RVs filled with guns." Well, then the people down in the front lines don't know the difference. They think that that's what they're facing, right? So I respect and I understand all those individuals. But the reality is I could hear the commanders building a narrative. And this wasn't directly to me, but I was on a walkie-talkie and there was somebody talking to them and I could hear them talking. And I instantly understood that there was being a narrative built that we were a dangerous group, that there was danger, like violence. They were talking about violence. And then they had told Dorothy that she needed to get away from us because we had guns and we were going to kill the Navajo. This is literally what they told her, and that there was going to be shooting. So when I heard this, it was, we're packing up, we're gone. Because these people, they've already built the narrative over here. And now in order to justify their actions, they have to do something big to say, well, this was dangerous, right? When you were there, like we're talking, 86-year-old people in some wheelchairs, right? We're talking, and just very loving people. There was nobody violence. There was not even a remotely tenor of violence in anybody at all. That's the antithesis of who we are as a group and how we assembled. We assembled completely under complete different understanding of it. So it was quite a startling event, and we got out of there pretty quick. And I hoofed it across the field because, I can't leave Arizona. So I took it across the field with a Navajo guide across the field to staying on the Arizona side, just like I came in, right? Just to make sure that, nobody had any excuses to try to monkey around. And I actually had to get them to, through the radio, I said, if we're going to vacate, you have to guarantee me that people will leave safely, that you're not going to be hassling people. I don't want these 80-year-old people being thrown onto the ground. I don't want people, hassled and dragged out of their cars. That's not cool because nobody's done anything. And they were already kind of being hassled up at the hotel. And so I'm happy that nobody was hurt. I'm happy that, no shots were fired, obviously. Regardless, I'm disgusted that whoever the commanders were, or whatever they bought and whatever narrative they established and the lies that they told in the paper. I mean, I'm still expecting them to retract those things, because I can tell you there's a lot of people, anybody that is associated with this not being a cult. It is not a cult. It is just simply an understanding of truths. So call this the same as the truth movement. There is no difference between my group and Rex's group. It's all of us trying to discover these truths. So It's not a religion, right? That's the last thing that anybody wants, but yet casting us as this occult group, right? Satan worshiping, and then saying that they actually said in the paper, I don't know whether you read that, Diamond, but they said that we got violent and we rioted.
Yeah, I called out the San Juan record on my channel last night. I provided, which is public access, their address, the phone number of the 3 reporters that did not put their name on the article, where they mentioned me, Oppenheimer Ranch Project, you, Rex, and others as being part of the occult. And absolutely defamation of character, and on and on. The article itself contained very little factual information, and the misinformation in the article could have been instantly fact checked in about 30 minutes. In fact, William Battles, who is one of the top attorneys with the Navajo Nation, he has a PhD. He's Navajo. At first, he was kind of against the way that we were acting in the very beginning of this event. But as he saw the videos that I posted and the videos that you've posted, and he's gotten the facts, he watched 10 of my videos, and he was like, wait a minute. These people are the exact opposite of everything that they're saying.
Yeah.
Which is not unusual for the mainstream media to be completely opposite of the truth. So, I mean, it's not really that mind-blowing that everything they posted about our event and us in general is a complete farce, but it is libelous. And I am sure that hundreds, if not thousands, of my subscribers have rung the San Juan Records phone off the hook all day. They probably got dozens of emails, people saying, and even William Battles had a battle on my Facebook page with the Navajo Times yesterday, calling him out as a rag, telling him to cancel his subscription. He has a PhD. He is a lawyer for the Navajo Nation. And what he read in that paper was disgusting, because it took him 5 minutes to disprove almost everything they wrote.
Everything.
And this is a Navajo, one of their lawyers.
Yeah, the only thing they got right, Diamond, was the spelling of my name. That's it. There wasn't anything else. That everything else was complete crap. It was all a lie. It was literally. And here's the amazing part: is this reporter has the gall to call himself, a journalist. And here's the reality of the thing. He stated that he heard from one person's family that had come and that disagreed with them coming, right? Never has this person watched any of the videos. They just were scared for whoever because they were coming. So none of that. So this person called the reporter and gave them, and he went off of this one person. Forget about the 45,000 people that follow the channel, right? Forget about those people. 45,000 opinions doesn't matter, but this one lunatic that calls because they don't like their family member going to this, because they disagree with it, because they don't understand what we're talking about here. They're not awake, even remotely, right? Which, is quite common. How many times do people think that you're nuts?
All the time.
Of course.
80%.
Yes. So if you went away to something where a bunch of people like you are all going to gather, right? Somebody that would call, oh my God, you got to get Diamond out of there. He's with a bunch of lunatics. Now, I want to answer a question here from David Sasson. He's asking if I'm a Christian. So I just want to ask you a question, David. If I answered you if I'm a Christian, which variation of Christian would that be? Which one of the 33,000 plus denominations would that be? Right? Because
the good one. One.
In order for me to answer you as to am I a Christian, I would have to know what your understanding of a Christian is. And as far as I can see, I haven't met too many Christians that actually even know anything about Christ or his teachings. So I'll just tell you this. I follow the words and the teachings of Christ that has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with the Roman Catholic Church. It has nothing to do with the Protestants, because none of them understand it. Very few. That's why it's the narrow gate, David. And I'm not talking Diamond David. I'm talking David Assassin. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. So just to help you answer that question. So, so it was amazing. So this Navajo lawyer, I'd like his number. I'd like to talk to him, because that's interesting. See, and this is not unlike what we've experienced. a very different reception from, you know, when we have these people, these trolls, and I'm going to call them government trolls. They might be Navajo, but they're government trolls, right? They're working for the people and they're sympathetic to the way that the government is handling the Navajo people, but the Navajo people aren't sympathetic to it, right? So the vast majority of people in that territory don't subscribe to the way that they're doing things. And I could tell you one thing, these people were telling us, when they were telling us to leave, Dorothy's people and all those people were saying, no, don't let them bully you. And I'm like, wait a minute, they're coming with guns. And so for your sake and for our sake, let's not have some blood here in the desert, because their narrative will then be the only thing that stands, because we won't be able to refute it, right? We'll all be dead. And they were prepared to do that. There was a lot of people. You saw all those people.
Well, I'm a professional organizer, and I helped start the March Against Monsanto back in 2011. I helped the Occupy movement organize. We served 1.3 million meals a day at the 47th day of Occupy Philly. We were feeding more people. 1/3 of the city was coming to eat, and most of those homeless people were not from the city. We had created infrastructure in 5 weeks, a group of strangers that were like-minded, and we had done more than the infrastructure of Philadelphia was ever capable of doing from donations alone. This was not any other money, but donations. So the unfortunate thing is, if we stood our ground on Dorothy Bigman's property, they would have incited violence. There would have been harm to human lives. And thankfully, we were all guided by the universe and our true nature as humans, because that's what our group is. And we knew that we had to comply with this Gestapo nonsense or suffer the consequences. If we stood our ground, and I guarantee you, if you and I had talked to that crowd for 5 seconds, they would have all formed a line. But that was not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to leave and let these people expose themselves for the embarrassment that they are. Who are they protecting? What are they protecting? What did they gain? Nothing. You know what they lost? Everything. They lost credibility. They lost financial support. They lost a lot of things in the eyes of the masses, because the truth is always will come to the surface. It always does. And in just a short period of time, people can see who we are, what we're about, and at no point were we ever trying to take advantage of anyone at any time for any reason.
Yeah, and take advantage. We basically paid for for Dorothy's father because they wouldn't release the body. She needed, money. So we were raising money. We were helping her. People were bringing feed for the horses for the holiday family. I mean, there was no harm being done. Everybody was doing good. Everybody was there for good. It was really disgusting. It was disappointing, to say the least. And yes, they exposed themselves, Diamond. And I don't think it's well for them. But, the thing is that they spent a lot of money for their own narrative. And so, it's terrible that they're even continuing with this, because it's truly them continuing. They could be retracting this stuff. So, but like I said, everybody's out safely, and that was the right thing to do. And we acted quickly as soon as I felt that narrative had changed, and that everything is optics, right? So they were creating the optics for a violent entry into that. So unfortunately, they were planning on that, but fortunately we exited quickly enough. And I was really happy because I couldn't get a hold of you guys. Right. And I was like, man, don't come back here. Don't come back here. This is bad. And, but thankfully you guys got there and nothing happened. So I was happy to hear that, and happy that you got to actually find some of the things that you were looking for, the petroglyphs and stuff. I can't wait to watch those videos. If you haven't gone to Diamond's channel, Oppenheimer Ranch Project, I'm going to go here and find your channel here and put your link in the chat box. Go there, watch Diamond's videos. Quickly here. Sorry about that, Diamond. Just want to make sure I get this. Also, before I do this, Eileen Gilkinson, who came to the event. If anybody is with Eileen, make sure that Eileen contacts her husband. He's concerned. that I know sometimes where we've been, cell service hasn't been easy for people. So here's the link to Oppenheimer Ranch Project, and we'll look for those videos. Man, I really appreciate that. I can't wait to see those. Did you? This is the very first time I've been able to sit down at a PC, right? Because I don't know, try to explain to you what we did. We hit the road in a caravan, Diamond, and we drove through this massive snowstorm that hit the Flagstaff area. It was whiteout conditions. We got out here down into the lower part of the valley, north of Phoenix here, and everybody stopped at different places at a day's inn, and we kind of were scattered. And then the next morning reconvened at a lake out here. We had a great kind of reconvening where everybody could centrally locate. And then we found another location to go. And it was a retreat camp. So everybody could bring their RVs, everybody. And we also had a lodge, bathrooms and bunks and showers and everything. It was a lot of fun. I mean, and it was.
I watched, I've seen all your videos
awesome.
Since you left. And I watched Jeffrey's videos, and then I saw you guys come back together in Prescott. So I've been following the narrative because I'm a watcher.
Yeah. Well, awesome. It's been amazing. And just like, you know, the fellowship that you saw amongst the people there, I could tell you that once we actually got here, you know, some people were weeded out that, you know, just couldn't make the trek and couldn't stand the amount of, you know, stress that was there. But I could tell you, we still ended up with like 100 people here in Prescott. And man, by the time everybody got here, they felt like they were a part of something, that they had witnessed something that they needed to see, and that the understanding of everything that we've always said, that they make up these things, right? We've all seen David Koresh. We've all seen these things go on where people are cast as one thing, and you go, and then you watch the conspiracy movies afterwards. And so you go, oh, that's conspiracy, right? They really just did this. David Koresh really wasn't that kind of person, or whatever the group was Ruby Ridge, right? We got to witness it firsthand and experience it firsthand. So there is no doubt in anybody's mind that is here exactly how they do things, because to be called basically a terrorist, because we did hear that they classified us as a terrorist group.
Well, how about if I show you what we were doing? I'm going to share this.
Perfect.
There's our guide right there going down.
Make it into an Anasazi enclosure.
We are inside an Anasazi enclosure.
See, this one is a. So
this one you can climb it without the ladder.
Yeah, we just did.
Yes, we did.
How did you get up there?
Yes, I did.
You can see the burn marks like in most areas where there's lots of burning going on. Her cooking here.
See the green grease.
It could also be for signaling.
Just keep watching.
Oh, okay. And then we got some rebuilding work here. This is relatively fresh mortar.
Yeah. Is that like a baby foot?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's more right there. Where? You see the dimples?
The baby foot. And this.
See that smooth dimples? Those are what's that?
They're grinding right here in this shallow.
Oh,
it's really great.
Like a mold that hectic. You mean like that grinding stone?
Yeah. So the grains catch, like you have rice or
you grind it up there.
It's catching in the hole as you go in the circle. And these are all built in metates all the way out. So you can see they were working, they can work grain. You can see it much better in the camera.
What's that?
Tic-tac-toe.
Tic-tac-toe.
I mean, this could be some ancient star map. It's just all cracked and all this.
Wait till you see these footprints.
I love the way you guys are so fired up and interested.
This is like a sandal print.
And that handprint.
But why is one coming up and one going down? I guess that's what it represents. This is where you come up and down.
Coming and going. Isn't that cool?
This is where they're coming and going. And this is where your final hand goes to save your ass. Because this is it's the last step that kills you. And there's probably some other
acts you are doing. Austin interviews.
Dire Wolves here.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So there's a lot more like that. We got hours of footage, and that's just a sneak peek.
Well, awesome. Well, obviously I didn't get to make it out of the camp, but I have a ton of footage at the camp and on the way arriving that I'll be assembling. Also, footage with Dorothy and others that we spoke to there, and so I'm going to be assembling that for for kind of an overall. I would call it probably end up being like a 2-hour documentary of this entire event. And I would really, Diamond, I would really like to include footage that the officers have of us getting violent and rioting, right? I'm sure they have that, right? Of course, they would have to have that.
I imagine someone has footage of the stormtroopers coming in and acting like fools, but I don't think there's any footage of us doing the same.
Yeah, I want to know if anybody has footage of that, because I would certainly like to include that. Obviously,
indeed,
we were long gone, but I know that there were lots of people to testify to how many were there. There was a bus full, right? So there was a bus full of people and armor shields, and riot gear and all sorts of crap. So they had to show that thing to justify the lie. So I fully get it, but somebody needs to correct that. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Rex's room and my room were the last 2 rooms to be cleared from the View Hotel. Did you hear Rex's testimony on how that occurred?
He gave me a bit of a breakdown. A guy with a riot shield walking him to his room.
Yeah, they were clearing the door, then they cleared the room, and it was crazy. Then they sent the guy that drove me up there back into our hotel room to get my laptop because they thought it might be the bomb. I mean, just
they were trying to
mind-blowing.
They were trying to set everything up. This is actually what made me nervous. I was like, they're trying to set it up where there's bomb. Hey, they could have put one there, right? Maybe that was the plan. Maybe we left before they were able to do that.
Thankfully,
dude, I'm telling you, it's that needs to be fixed. And if anything else comes of this, people need to rise up against that, because that is bad stuff. That is bad stuff. And that's exactly what they do. And they do that to just normal people. Why? Because we're telling the truth. It's not because we went in there uninvited. We were invited, period.
Yeah.
You talked to Dorothy. She wasn't unhappy of us being on that property. She was like, stay. So
yeah, and then if we were all at Dorothy's house, I think that legally we're all allowed to go to the monument and pay our $20 and go in. People got the wrong impression that we were going in there to cause harm and damage, which that was never, ever stated anywhere for any purpose. And I loved it when you showed the Google image of 50 giant 29-foot RVs in the mouth of the Eagle. Yeah. Like, what could we have done? We had 4 RVs and 10 tents. And they're out of their mind. It was absolutely it was blown out of proportion. There could have been better communication, but when all is said and done, I tend to believe everyone and what they say, and there was plenty of communication. Somewhere on their ends is where they lost their heads. Now, we still don't know. Did Gabriel of Urantia call in because he supposedly threatened to do that? So, he might have called some people. Plus, you said that maybe one of your group's family members might have called in because they felt that they were unsafe. Any of these things could be true. But we now know that all of us are safe. We're out of there. If we do a different event, it'll certainly be in a different way where we're welcomed by all authorities on every level, no matter what it takes, because it needs to be done that way for the safety of everyone and to grow this movement. That's the only way.
All groups will never approve that, Diamond. So unfortunately, If you're going in there to prove some of these truths that we're talking about, those groups are never going to allow that. So they'll send you through the patterns of saying, well, here's the process that you have to go by. It's a path, and it's got 12 locked gates. Unlock each gate as you go, and the last 6 will be welded shut. So that's how this works. Gabriel of Urantia, you know, I'm sure that he was one of the ones that tried to pee in the water. And if any, and you know, Gabriel of Urantia, I'll just tell you right now, if people want to say that we're a cult, you want to see what a cult is, where a guy is very envious. Quite honestly, he's envious of you. He's envious of Rex. He's envious of anybody that has more followers than he does, because he thinks he's this.
Oh my
version.
God.
Yeah.
Derek, I put out a video that's a picture of Monument Valley as the cover. It says shut down. It was just an update I did while I was there. It showed the night I got there, the lights at the gate, and I was filming from the hotel room window. And Gabriel of Urantia, by the way, who used to be Gabriel of Sedona 7 years ago, a cult leader who switched his name to Gabriel of Urantia after he glommed onto the Urantia book. And if you actually call the Urantia headquarters, they will disassociate with that psychopath because he's a cult leader. He used to be Gabriel of Sedona. He's a pedophile. He's known to have had sex with married women and evict people from his sickening cult, as well as underage girls. These are facts that occurred when he was Gabriel of Sedona. Google it. There are many videos on YouTube that people that were stuck in that cult or family members that are testifying against that creepy dude. Now, he is so creepy that my video had around 20,000 views, and he paid for a 1-hour ad to run in front of my video. So, and it was an unskippable ad, and it was his video bad-mouthing you. So at some point, all these people were contacting me. The only way they could watch my video was to watch his hour long, but you don't have to do that. You just hit refresh and it goes away. But this sick prick actually paid to put the defamatory video he did against you and everyone else as an ad in front of my video. I told Rex this afternoon, and it just boggled his mind. It's crazy.
Well, this kind of persecution was promised, so it's not surprising. But the reality is it was called Witness in the Desert because we need to witness this kind of stuff, witnessing this type of attack, because this is what happens. And believe me, folks, this is just the beginning. These attacks will get bigger and bigger the closer we get to revealing the bigger truths that will crack everything wide open. So you froze up there on us, David. Diamond. So thank you, moderators, for doing an amazing job. Looks like I lost Diamond. He's coming back in. Moderators, you're doing a great job, because I'm just going to let everybody know before you come back in, Diamond. I'm going to let everybody know, anybody that you're going to come on here and you're going to just, if you're going to be aggressive and you're just going to wield insults, they're just going to ban you right away, because there's no time for any of that, right? So just go away. Incredible. So
oh my God.
Charlie Bear says that he bought the ad on my video as well. Interesting. to buy an attack ad against yeah, well, that's fine. You know what? Perfect. I can tell you this much. If I sit next to Gabriel of Urantia, I'd like to sit next to that guy. Gabriel of Urantia, if you're listening, if you want to talk about scripture, if you want to talk about ancient scriptures, if you want to talk about Hebrew, you want to talk about Aramaic, you want to talk about Greek, you want to talk about Sanskrit, we want to talk about what you know, come on the show and let's have that discussion, because I have a floor that needs waxing. So
that's never happening. Ever.
No.
But can you imagine how much money it cost this idiot to put an hour-long ad that's specifically targeted at my video? That has to cost thousands of dollars, which he is stealing from his cult. I mean, it's crazy.
He must have thought, and was it that hour-long video with him and his wife? Was that the video?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Boy,
yes.
what? Hey, I should probably thank Gabriel, because when I heard about that video, my subscribership went up by about 1,500. Thanks, Gabriel. Thanks for the advertising.
I gained more subscribers since I left, 5 times more subscribers than that idiot has. I got 5,000 subs in the last 14 days. I think he has like 1,000 subscribers. He placed an ad that cost thousands of dollars so that I could get thousands of subscribers so that no one would ever listen to him again. It's insane. The guy is out of his mind. He's a sociopath. He's a pedophile. He wears a Star Trek outfit. And everyone is subservient to this idiot because they don't have free will. I don't know. When you wake up, you know that we're all connected and that we're all individual and that we all have our own unique skill set. Right now, we're all perfect. You don't need to go anywhere else than where you're at right now. That's where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Hey, Isaac Gilkinson, just want to let you know that I've already announced for people to look for your wife. There were so many people. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you specifically whether I saw her today. There's way too many faces for me to remember which names went to each face entirely all the time. So I apologize. There was still a lot of people there today as we were packing up and cleaning up. So I will definitely reach out to some folks there at the camp and make sure that she gets back with you. If she's still there or if she's gone home, I'm not quite sure. So, Diamond, so how much more video do you think that you have on what you've gathered up there?
I posted everything. Yeah, yesterday I posted all the interviews, and you end with the final interview. You remember when I interviewed you? So there's a video of all the interviews of the people there. I have put up the Dorothy interview, Dorothy's story, which is over probably around 20,000 views right now. All Navajo Nation people are writing in about how respectful and amazing that story is, and that they obviously got the wrong impression of what we were doing there. And that's when the Battles came out of the woodwork, a Navajo lawyer who has a PhD who was against us, and then he saw what we did, and he's like, then he was for us because he saw what the Navajo Times did and the San Juan Record did, which was defame us for no reason because we are none of the things that they claimed. Mm-hmm. So the only remaining footage I just put together is the Mystery Valley tour. It's 38 minutes long. I'll publish it tonight, and that's the total of mine. Rex has an hour and a half of footage, none of which he's put up yet.
Very good. Well, I probably have, I would say, a good 16, 17 hours of video. I do have lots of video of what was going on and how far we were actually away from the actual park. So to call something a threat, right, was ridiculous. Really, and where we were at as opposed to the border of Utah and everything. So there's a lot of video that has to be assembled. And it's also doubled and backed up and sent to lots of different drives. So sorry, not getting rid of my phone isn't going to get rid of it. It's because my phone's been 3 times been trying to attack. You know, what's crazy that you mentioned that the Navajo were talking and saying how respectful your piece was, is I've received more emails now from other people, from other Navajo up there, other Navajo families, other people that have contacted me to tell me that they appreciate what we're exposing, and then also being contacted by Hopi that believe that they may have misunderstood us because of other people that have also lied. So people, when somebody says here, somebody said earlier that we need to forgive Gabriel of Urantia so that they, forgive them for they know not what they do. But let me help you understand something there. Like I said, like the officers up there that are told to come because there's some dangerous people there. They're following orders from a command. That's a forgive them, know not what they do. Gabriel of Urantia is basically an archon. That's what that guy is. So I'm not going to say, hey, look at this cute demon. I forgive the demon. No, he's a demon. The guy's not cool. So I'm going to show and I'm going to expose what he is. Now, if that guy apologized and he sought forgiveness, well, I'm sure that we could all come to terms and go, hey, he said, yeah, I was totally wrong about you guys. But that's never going to happen because his entire motive behind this is envy. He's envious. It bothers him that he can't get people to follow him. Gabriel, the reason why you can't get people to follow him is because there's no truth in your words.
None.
There's no truth in your words. People follow truth because they hear truth and they know it's true, not because you tell them it's true.
In his ad, he's reading from a paper and he's not even reading from it very well. So he's not, I mean, how gullible do you have to follow someone who has to read what his testimony and he doesn't even read it well? Like, so, you know, when we're speaking, it's words that are flowing with emotion because it's the truth. I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. I'm saying it because it's the truth. It flows out. Some people don't like what I have to say because it's the truth. I'm not politically correct. I've been through a few things. I tend to be less compassionate and I tend to be more truthful because I'm tired of the BS. I'm tired of it. So if you ask me if your ass is fat in that dress, you better not have a fat ass.
You're going to be honest. Yeah. See, so this is where we get to. Look, when you find the truth and you begin discovering the truth, you even get sick when you tell a lie, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just automatically did this. Like you want to vomit it out. It's like, I can't tell a lie. I'm going to tell you the truth. You know why? It's so much easier to remember. Right? Tell the truth. It's easier to remember. And you don't got to manage the lie. Lies need constant propping up. The truth doesn't need any defense ever. And Simon Miller says that he likes fat behinds. So
well, hey, that's fine.
So
fat bottom girls make the world
I
go
can't
round.
hear you. Are you muted? And I've lost
I said fat bottom girls make the world go round.
Did I somehow mute you? Can't hear you still. Try that again.
Can you hear me now?
Switch your mic. I think it might have changed your microphone input. Check down on the microphone input.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
So, can't hear you yet. Nope. Still can't hear you. I could still see your beautiful face, but I can't hear you.
Working. It says it's working. Uh-oh.
Oh, coming back in. All right, your mic shows muted now.
Can you hear me now?
Nope, still can't hear you. Well, I've only got down on the bottom left. Are you on a PC? I can't hear you, but if you're on a PC, it'll show the mic down on the bottom left, and it'll show, if you click on that little arrow, it'll show you which microphone you're actually using, which microphone input, and sometimes that'll change if your microphone gets unplugged. Oh, somebody said that they can hear you, but I can't hear you.
Oh, you muted me. You muted me.
I did mute you. Now I hear you. Crazy. Now I hear you, Diamond.
That's when you bang down.
Oh, you know, maybe
what I was trying to say that you missed is fat bottom girls make the world go round.
Okay, I'm glad we got you unmuted so we could hear that. Awesome. So everybody, just so you know, we have people ask me questions. This is a new bunker that I'm setting up to work in, because I was in mine and Malia's environment, and I decided that that's kind of an invasion into our private little space there that, we have to have a place that I can escape to that isn't part of this. And so this is going to be a new bunker here. I like it because I really like the solitude of a confined space. I got used to that, and I like it. It's quiet and comforting. And I see you hiding that vape behind the.
I live in Colorado.
It's legal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, I wanted to let everybody know what an amazing group, though, Diamond. When we got back here, just everybody's been really incredible. And they've just as far as kind of what they've experienced, you said that you watched the video, so you've heard from quite a few of these people there, but it's just overwhelming. I mean, the amount of transformation in people, just the being able to be around people of like mind, people that have thought the same things, felt the same things, gone through all of these transitions together as they come into understanding truths. It was remarkable to watch. We had a massive bonfire and all the RVs around it, and then we had the lodge, and a guy brought stuff and was cooking. It was just unbelievable, just amazing people and incredible testimonies that as I get through some of the video, you're going to be able to hear and see a lot of these people and hear more about what has happened. But this has been a massive growth experience for many people. I understand that it was nerve-wracking for some, but at the same time, if we're approaching times where there will probably be more difficult times for everybody, forget just about us, but far more difficult times for everybody, these people are going to be people that expect it and have a far greater understanding of how to handle it spiritually, emotionally, the strength that they showed. By the time everybody that was willing to come back here, the strength of those people was crazy. I mean, think about that. They came all the way up there. Some people came from all across the world, rented vehicles and RVs, drove all the way up there, turned around and drove all the way back after being chased out by agents. So they're already tougher. I mean, they're just tough. It's beautiful. But tougher in a loving way that, they still don't hold it against anybody up there. They're startled with the truth that was revealed. So I can't wait to bring these videos and give everybody a chance to see the people that actually did make it back down here. It was quite a bit larger than I thought it was going to be. I thought we'd end up with probably 20 people after that, but we get down here. And as time passed on, another RV, another car, another RV, another car, it just kept filling back up again. And I was like, wow, I think there might even be more people here now than there was up there in the first place. But it was truly remarkable. And we're going to do something like that again. I mean, not necessarily up in Navajo or Hopi territory, but we're certainly going to have more gatherings, because it's the gathering of people together has been just truly remarkable. But I can tell you that we could probably gather in the middle of the desert, not even near any Indian territory. And I think the government's still going to have a problem of gathering of like minds like that. I think that's what we're looking for in the future. I think that's what we can look forward to, that it won't have anything to do with anything else. They've used that as an excuse, but they're just not going to like us getting together, because that in and of itself is a threat to them. To them, they look at it like it's a shot over the bow, right? It's a shot over their bow. And I was thinking today, it's amazing. Say you, myself, and 100 other people in a community all got together and decided to donate money to an organization to, say, hey, let's start this little company over here that will manage some stuff for us so we don't have to manage it. That'll manage water coming in and manage some electricity. And we all collectively get together and pay this company money. And then as time goes, that company starts telling us what to do and telling us how to live. That's what we live in. That company tells us what we can and can't do, and we pay them to do it. Mind numbing. So
the multinational corporations now rule the governments of the world, and in turn, they have militarized the police of the world, and we are headed towards a globalist society where Big Brother is going to know everything. They're going to know when you breathe, when you poop, when you eat, how many calories come in, when you sweat, your movements, how many steps you take a day. That's the way that they're moving towards. And there's a group of people that will resist that. And we will be the resistance, and we will not comply, and we will not let them monitor our sweat. We will not plug in our consciousness to their devices. And that's the way it is going to go. And it's going to happen very quickly. Now, the police state has already infiltrated even rural America. I mean, the town I lived in Norristown, Pennsylvania, they had a tank. It's like 30,000 people. They had a tank, and the SWAT team would take it out and practice with it and ruin the road. I mean, so this is where we live.
Yeah, I used to say, why would you give a local police officers a tank? And they go, well, just in case. I go, no, here's the problem. If somebody gives me a toy, I'm going to find a way to use it. Right? You don't give the police a tank. You know, first of all, and here what's so crazy is they want to make you think that things have gotten so much worse that these cops need to be dressed like military. They don't. They don't need that. How often is a cop shot? Not as often as you would think, according to what they talk about, that it happens every day. It's the same thing. You know, you go on the dark web. The most startling thing when I first introduced people to the dark web and started showing them the black markets on there. And, you know, you go to the black market of the dark web and you can buy anything in the dark web. Anything. We're talking, you could buy poison, you could buy bombs, you buy anything in this black. I mean, obviously I would never do that because I don't have a need. I don't want anybody to get hurt. But the point is, if you can do that stuff and you can get this stuff and it's readily accessible, then how come it's not happening everywhere? Well, because they're so good at law enforcement? No, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Because the threat doesn't exist. The threat of terrorism is only made up. This is a made up boogeyman. They make this happen. Order of chaos, right? They create the chaos so they can create the order. That's just how it functions.
Yeah, I did a whole study decades ago when I was at university about morality, because I was looking into the fact that it is the religions of the world that have fueled all of the murdering sprees and wars for the last several thousand years. Religion. And recently it has been replaced by governments. Only recently. But typically it was religion fueling all of the wars. Now, while this is going on and millions of people are being slaughtered under the guise of nationalism, you know, the populations of those countries are still moral. They're still protecting the soldiers as well as the civilians. They're risking their lives through compassion, which I am certain is built into our genetics. Our genetics contain the morality, which we call humanity. And it is the systems, the society, the religions, and the doctrine that is removing that from our humanity. And if you go back to source, if you shut all of that doctrine, dogma, and brainwashing out, and you meditate, you just sit there, go into the woods. And these people that came to this event that are having these emotions, this is the first time that they're feeling that. They are feeling connected to source. They're finally seeing the lie, which is everything. And they're realizing that they are one humanity. And they are connected finally to the rest of us. Now, when I first tried to meditate, it was so difficult because most people are not connected yet. So we're hearing the noise of their pain. But it is increasing. According to the Vedas and many other spiritual teachings, this is a cycle, and everything will be revealed in its own time. But I think that we need to get back to basics. And then we can connect with who we are in our consciousness, because every step along the way of this globalist nonsense is to break us apart from our humanity and to make us slaves like ants to do what they want. Mm-hmm. They do not want us to come together, but we will.
No question about it. Well, see, you're absolutely correct about religion. And that's why it's very frustrating. People think we're religious because religion is responsible for every atrocity ever executed on this planet. Religion is responsible for it. And it's not, and see, here's the difficulty of this, Diamond, is that when people say, oh, religion sucks, and then they take the Bible and they go, well, that's the cause of it. No, that's the tool of religion. They have distorted what it says to such an extent to comply with what they have. And they've also rewritten it. I mean, that's what the Romans did, right? So that was the Council of Nicaea. That was Paul in the New Testament. And that's why I focus people on just the words of Christ, because if you actually follow just the words of Christ, he's telling you that there's a construct. He's telling you essentially about the archons. He's telling you about the rulers of the world. He's telling you that the rulers of the world are worshiping this God that is Satan. That's why he said to the Hebrews, your father is Satan. He's like, your guys are working for the bad God, right? So he's telling everybody this, but yet somehow they managed to redistort this and reteach this and give people this dogma. And there is no dogma. Things are much bigger. That's why I refuse to even agree or disagree with somebody, right? If somebody says something that doesn't resonate with me, I don't disagree with them because I might not have the understanding just yet, or the different components to understand what they said. So I put that on a shelf, and then sometime later on, something will come up and I'll go, oh my gosh, that thing that person said, now I understand it. And so if I had said I disagree, well, I shut that, I throw it in the toilet. I'll never remember it again. So I catalog everything. So I want to be able to know and understand all different elements and understandings and angles of all of these truths, because if you're looking at a truth from this angle or this angle, you're going to describe it in two different ways. There's a Buddhist saying where it says that a master had his blind servants, and he put them before an elephant and had them walk up to the elephant, touch the elephant, and describe the elephant. And each one went up. One touched the leg and said, it's like a big barrel. And one touched the tail and said, it's like a tight rope. And then one touched the tusk and said, it's like a thick hose. But none of them could describe the elephant. Right. So the whole point is that understanding the creator of all, understanding source, you're too blind to describe it. You're never going to be able to describe it. And for anybody to dogmatically limit themselves and say, no, God is Jehovah. First of all, giving the creator of all things a name is a diminishing act in and of itself. How could you possibly even name it? How could you name something that creates dimension after dimension after dimension of existence, and yet you somehow are going to attempt to give that creator, that source, a name down here in the lowest of low third dimensions? What could you be thinking? Oh, he's a jealous God. Are you kidding? The creator of all things, what could he possibly be jealous of? Like that's the sick guy over here, right? So we have, and it's almost laughable when these truths come up. And that's why you're joyful, because now you know it. It's no longer a belief, Diamond. Just like you, I don't believe anything anymore. I know what I know. I don't have to, you don't have to, nobody's going to argue with me. If you're going to argue with me because you're going to change my mind, you can't change my mind, because what I have is truth. The reason why you're upset at what I said is because I destroyed your paper temple, which was based on lies and false truths. And so that upset you. You want to argue about it. It's just incredible. But we're entering a time that is just going to be, the awakening is happening. We are entering a much larger wave coming up here of awakening. We're the beginning of this. We are the beginning of this. People think that this is a big awakening right now. This isn't anything. Believe me, there is an awakening coming. And it's funny because, I stopped to get some food today with Malia, and it was a Mexican restaurant. And the guy comes up and we hand him cash in the window, and it was an old dollar, or an old version of the bill. And he goes, oh, what happened to the new Monopoly money? And I said, I thought I'd give you an old version. I said, don't worry, it's worthless just the same. And he said, and this is how crazy this is. And he said, absolutely, the money's worth nothing. And he starts educating me on how money is nothing. I'm like, see, when you can literally say this to anybody, they know, they're starting to see these little things, and it's starting to seed up. This is going to pop. People, I'm telling you right now, they're preparing. And that's why they're quelling little group meetings like us, because something like that can quickly blow up and explode into a much larger deal, because of the awakening is real. People were coming. They'll squash those quickly. Every time we gather, I guarantee you.
I find it very amazing that there are thousands of sects of Christians, and yet almost none of them understand Christ consciousness.
None.
And additionally, they don't even talk about the fact that Christ is not a Christian, never was. That Christianity was developed by people that wanted to control the masses, not to spread Christ's message of Christ consciousness, which is a Buddhist message of being created to source, the creator, the father, the heaven, the universe, that he is within you, and that you are the key to that success. And so Christianity came and totally destroyed the key message that Christ had, which was Christ consciousness, which is do unto others as you would have done unto you. Basically, the Sermon on the Mount. Those are the most wise and moral words because they're coming from within. Genetics. It is who we are as humans. Christianity is not. It is a control mechanism by the elites, which we now call in the Roman Catholic case, the Vatican. But at the top of every church is a guy with a helicopter, trust me, and he flies all around and wastes money from his parishioners that are starving. That is not what Christ was teaching. Not at all.
Not even remotely.
So they missed it.
Yeah, they missed it, but it's right in front of their face. Whenever I start talking about it and I say that he says, Father, all of me is in you and all of you is in me. And I want them to have exactly what I have. And then you say, I'm Christ. And they go, you can't be Christ. I'm like, then what did he say? He said that I have to be. I don't understand. And he said, the Spirit will come and it will take all that I have and it will grant it to you, declare it to you. What do you not understand about these words, people? What do you not understand about a body? What do you not understand that there are many, many parts of the body, that we are a body? What do they not understand about the return of the Son of Man will be like lightning striking in the east and flashing into the west? Wide, the whole place. It's not one man. It's a body. It's all of us waking up. That's the body. That is a massive, massive awakening. It is a consciousness because, and it's unmistakable, Diamond. When you're with a group like this, and this is why they don't want you assembling. They don't even like the internet for this reason. But when you're with this group, everybody's thinking exactly the same and not in a robotic fashion, all in a different way, but all of the same purpose. And you're like, this is what of one mind and of one accord means, right? It's just one body moving and it's incredible. Why do you think that we were able to have that entire camp packed up and be out of there and organized and everybody smiling and laughing? They were literally dancing on the highway, leaving the place in such a short period of time because everybody automatically just got it. It didn't require me to sit up there and tell them and give them details. Nobody asked any questions. I said, we need to go. Everybody said, go. And we left. This is a very dangerous thing to those that want to control people because we aren't controllable anymore. Not in that way, right? Nobody's going to relate. You're not going to control. We're not going to participate in your schemes. It's just not going to happen. I'm not playing your reindeer games anymore. And neither is anyone else. We get it. We're in our own truth. And you know what? And you say that we're supposed to be free to worship as we please. Well, then stay off my property and let me worship as I please. Right? But they won't allow that. So we're coming to a very, very tough time. And there is going to be persecution just like it's promised because, look, he promised it. That's the amazing part about it is he told you exactly what was going to happen. That's why I tell anybody that's just coming to this channel for the first time, if you have to throw away every single book you have and you want to read anything, read the red letters, read the book of John. If you trashed everything else, if you only had one thing to keep with you to read the book of John, read Christ's words, think about the understandings and the meanings behind them. And believe me, you'll understand this. Yes, you're absolutely correct, Diamond, that it is a Buddhist teaching. It is absolutely, when you read the teachings of Buddha and the teachings of Christ, it's the same thing, different words. The Dharma, right? It's the same thing.
So I have a long stint in prison for growing cannabis, and I was in and out of jail for over a decade. And I, reading and rereading the Bible, especially the book of John, who's also in prison. Mm-hmm. And it seems like that when you emerge from all of these experiences, you would think that it's strange. The system beat me down forever to a point where I didn't care. But when I finally received my freedom, the most important thing I knew moving forward, and this is how I live my life now, is that no matter who I meet, all the people I meet, even if I judge them first, I'm using those bad character defects from my past, I always ask people, how can I help them? What is it that you need? And I will give them everything I have if I don't need it. If it's not necessary for me to live, you can have it all. And so that's the way I've been living for over a decade. And what I've received in return is unimaginable. It's a life that I have never dreamed of. Now, I haven't crapped in a real toilet in 3 years. I still crap in a bucket. You could see the barn doesn't even have insulation. There's a trailer in here. And I'm building a future for me, but I'm not selfish. I'll get there. I'm humble because I know that there are millions that are way worse off than I am. So every morning I wake up with gratitude. I could go get a hotel room, but I would rather give that to someone else that needs the money, because that is not what gives me happiness. What gives me happiness is being happy, and happiness comes from gratitude. The attitude of gratitude is all you need to survive and thrive. If you're bummed out or you're upset right now, stop. Get out a piece of paper and start writing down things that you're grateful for.
Yeah,
you might be stuck, but it should be easy. If it's not easy, you need to practice.
Yeah, if it's not easy, then you are too far still in the matrix, because the matrix tells you what to be grateful for. And if you can't find something, so I'm grateful. I'm grateful just to be able to talk to you. I'm grateful that I was given the understandings that I have so I can talk to you. And even then, do I want to, I really, truly died to this world. And I'm like, I don't want to be in this place, right? And that's the great part about prison. But at the same time, I'm humbled that I'm asked to do these things, because clearly you're not giving these things, these understandings, without being intended to share them, right? To multiply them, multiply what you have. And so I'm grateful every single time I have the ability to speak to somebody about it. That doesn't mean that this is easy. So people are like, well, but you get persecuted and people call you Satan and the Antichrist and everything. And, and I go, yeah, I'm grateful for that. You know why? Because it's fulfilling scripture. He said that would happen, right? He said, if they've maligned me, how much more will they malign you, right? So all of these things, and, it's amazing. You having a stint in prison, obviously we have this in common, right? So the being in prison humbles you in a way that you become very comfortable with very little. In fact, I look back on that time and I kind of miss my bunk, right? I miss that bunk because, it's crazy that I'm like, because it was always there and I didn't expect much of it, right? And it was always just about the same temperature, cold, or in the summer, really hot, right? But I didn't have to expect much at all. And I didn't have anything. I didn't have much. And you become very comfortable being uncomfortable. And this is precisely why Christ himself, this is why, and you probably experienced this. You go into prison, there's nobody lukewarm, right? There's a group of Satanists that are worshiping Satan. There's the Odinists that are worshiping Odin. There's the Catholics that are worshiping, they're Catholic. There's these Protestants but man, they're all in whatever they're doing, and they're doing it all day long, right? And then, broken up occasionally by them trying to find drugs and do it or whatever they're doing and taking some guy out. And this is why scripture says he will be numbered amongst the transgressors, because basically those people that are, first of all, everybody, if anybody out there right now, he's had a prison number, I've had a prison number. You have a prison number too, just so you know, right? It's a social security number. It's on your birth certificate too. So everybody is numbered amongst the transgressors. So that's quite an easy one to fulfill, because you are a prisoner. You just don't necessarily know that yet. Somebody asked why I went to prison. I was a political, just very quickly, I have it on my testimony, but I was a political opposition to Democrats at the time. I'm not political at all anymore. But at the time, working with Andrew Breitbart, I pissed off a whole lot of politicians in the state of California and had some people that wanted to shake me down. I had 7 people that broke down my gate in California. This is California. Broke down my gate and rushed me in my backyard in a $2 million estate, in a gated estate. And I walked them off the property at gunpoint. I didn't shoot them. I didn't touch them. I didn't fire the gun in the air. Nothing. but they charged me with 7 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. And first offer that they gave me was ridiculous. I ended up serving 3.5 years for that. I've never broken a law. I still didn't break a law. That's called a wobbler. So they decided that they wanted to put me away because I became a threat to the politicians in the states. And that's in the state. And that's really what it is. If you think that you can defend your own house with a gun in the state of California because you're allowed to have one, think again. You're allowed to own one. It's allowed to be in your house. You're not allowed to touch it. They can charge you with a felony. Everything is illegal, right? Everything's a wobbler. So that's it. But if you want more details, listen to the detailed testimony because it's far more detailed. And yes, they beat me and tased me and did everything else they could. So, but again, something that I reflect on, that was a time, and I met amazing people, and I spent a lot of time teaching other men, and then ran a fire camp for the latter part of my term. And I'm very thankful for everybody. And you know what? And the amazing part is, Diamond, is that many of the officers and the lieutenants and they began listening to the teachings that I was teaching, and they're awake. And in fact, many of them are probably watching this video right now because they're very, very loyal followers of the channel and big time supporters, and have helped me out greatly.
Well, amen to that.
So, well, we won't keep up. I just wanted to give everybody an update, and I was really happy to see you call right when I went live, man. The phone started ringing, and I sent it to voicemail, and then you called again, and I sent it, and I was like, I'm going to pick up the phone. I told everybody in that live, I'm going to just pick up the phone, see who this is, and it was you. So we got to have this, just so you could see, everybody, when you think that we plan these conversations and something's rehearsed or some agenda, we do this. We speak this stuff from our heart. There's no agenda here. So, hey, now, what area of the country are you in?
I'm in Southwest Colorado, Pagosa Springs.
So you're not that far from me. I'm down in Prescott, Arizona.
Yeah, I'm a half hour from Rex.
Okay.
We're neighbors.
Man, anytime you want to come down here and hang out for a couple days, come on down.
Yeah, I did a lot of rock climbing in and around Payson, Box Canyon, Tonto, and Christopher Creek. You have to rappel in, and it's a really good quartzite. About 10 years ago, I was all over there. A lot of bear down there.
Yeah, well, we have the Granite Dells here in Prescott. If you get a chance to check out those, something you might want to check out one time because it's really amazing. If you look at that, just look at the Granite Dells in Prescott. It looks like an ancient city. Because it's in the middle of the desert, and these granite dells pop out of the ground, and there's a lake. I mean, they've made the lake, but it's remarkable. It looks like an ancient city. So I'm going to be going over there and looking a little closer at those things and seeing what I can find. But there's a lot of caves in those things as well too. So maybe come out. We'll climb over those rocks without having an entire group.
Yeah, it's good to have a bug out cave near your house in case something bad is coming in. Like if we knew a near Earth object was about to hit, you may only have a few days. You got to gather a bunch of stuff and get deep in a hole and maybe live. So that's one of the catastrophe scenarios where a cave could come in handy, or a huge, definitely an impact event.
Oh, well, there's going to be impact events. There's no question about that. We've got that coming. There's we have a lot of things coming that people just can't even comprehend. So if one thing doesn't get you, another one will. So Diamond,
it was a pleasure being on. Thanks for picking up the phone.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. I really appreciate you being here, and we'll chat again soon.
Yeah.
All right, folks, everybody, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you here. Make sure you subscribe to Diamond's channel. Awesome guy. Obviously, you've heard his heart. You've heard where he's at. He gets the Christ consciousness. He knows what the gig is. He knows where we're all headed. He knows what has to happen. So just another piece of the body of the family. So support him. He's a good man. I'll tell you, when I met him, I instantly liked him a lot. And love him and Rex, and I met them for the first time, and I can't tell you. I think we're forming a very unique body of people, and it's certainly not the last time we'll be connecting for sure. All right, love you much, Diamond. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.